This is the nursing math course. You can see you start with the introduction, course description, what to expect, have our course outcomes, the links to the course content, the bio, questions since there won't be any discussion boards. This is the social media aspect that links to our college math department YouTube page for extra videos for help that we add frequently on to that for all of the different math courses, and then the FAQs on the course. So after the homepage, I have the pretest. So the pretest will help to decide which lessons the students need to spend more time on. So on the pretest, once you choose your questions and the feedback, you'll see which section each of the problems are from. And then if they got any problems wrong in those different sections, they can go to those lessons for more help. And also made sure to tell them that it's not comprehensive, so feel free to study all the sections, even if you got all the questions correct. So you can see, I'm just going to pick random answers here so you can see what it would look like once we submit it. And you can see that once we view the score, it'll give us the correct answers, and then the feedback will tell us which problem. So this one's good as fractions, so they'll go to the fraction and percent section, and percents, and so on. So that will lead them to the different sections in case they're not sure which sections they need to study. So after they take the pretest, they can go to the different pages. They can either click on the links here or at the top. So for units of measure and all of the introductions, I made sure to connect it to both nursing and patient safety. So we have how this is used in healthcare, what measurements are done in healthcare, and then understanding the measurements can help ensure accurate amounts of medication, increase patient safety. So at the top, we'll have the objectives. And we get into our first topic, which is mass, volume, and length. We have the pictures for each of those. And then we have the first interactive here is the Padlet. And there's are some examples of how we can measure weight, volume, and length. And the students can just click and add if they wanted to add more pictures or anything else they wanted to add onto this in the 3 sections. Then we have the metric system. This is some practice on just a quick interactive on how they would measure each of these in length, volume, or mass. So if we click on it and said, okay, measure the length in meters, how would we measure the weight of the apple? We're going to measure that in the grams. So meter, liter, gram, quick practice there. And then we get into the household system and estimating units of measurement video. So this is the first ed puzzle.
Longer than a meter, you can think about the 100-meter bridge acoustic guitar.
And each of the questions
For something longer
here.
than a meter, you can think about the 100-meter dash. That would be 100 meters, about 300 feet.
So this is just an example. Which one of these will we measure in meters? Get them thinking about that. And then there's, I think, 5 questions.
Sometimes you have.
And then we have the units of measurement worksheet. So this is the principle of this section. And then they can practice 3 units of measurement throughout this, their estimation, and so on. And then I have the answers for that worksheet so they can get the feedback they need. And then at the end, we have the units of measurement quiz. Again, this will be the same as the other one with the feedback. Once you click on it, it'll tell us the correct answers, how to do them, and so on. And then we have our additional resources at the end. So these links will go to Khan Academy. So they can, if they need more help, go through the Khan Academy module with the videos and also the practice in here. And that's the same. I have it for mass, volume, and length. And then there's also this hippocampus. If they go into any of these different sections, they can look for the different measurements, so length, weight, they'll have all the different tools for those. There's different videos and such. So next section is percents and fractions. Again, the introduction, how would they use this in healthcare, the objectives, explaining percents, fractions, and decimals with this image over here. Then we have converting video, and then they have, this is the first Kahoot activity. So they would go through, practice the Kahoot, and they'd see what the answers are as they go through that. Just so you can see what it looks like. Change this to a decimal, then they would change that to a decimal. And then there's all those questions throughout that. Then we have the worksheet, so the printable for this section. And this one has the answers at the end for all of the different conversions. Then we get some examples for percents in a real world context. So if they're eating out, how would they leave a tip? If they get a raise, how much percent raise would that be? And then bringing it back to healthcare, here's a video of percents in healthcare. Fundamental math trick on how to solving these percents quickly in your head. Then we get to fractions, a visualization on how adding fractions would work, multiplying fractions with another visualization, and then a video summing all of that up. Then we have this fractions quiz. This is the one where I had the 5 different types of questions. So drop down the check boxes, fill in the blank, multiple choice with the pictures, and then the linear scale. They have another Padlet for the other interactive, just where they can post some different examples of how percents and fractions are used in healthcare. Again, this is embedded, so they can just add it right here. And this example I had on here is to give them an example of IV bags using percents. And then the summative quiz of the fractions and percents. And our additional resources, these ones have website for converting, and then this one also has like different questions in it so they can practice. They can put the answers in here and practice those. And then these ones are from OpenStax open source textbooks. There's both the percents and fractions full chapters in here that they can go through to learn all of the different topics, both fractions and percents and decimals they can go through. And then again, the hippocampus one, which I showed in the last section, that also had fractions, percents, and decimal section. Moving on to dimensional analysis, we have, again, the introductions focusing on being able to calculate doses, critical component to patient safety, and make sure they're thinking about, does their answer make sense in a clinical setting? Objectives. Then we get into the definition of dimensional analysis with an example. This is the animated video with the handwriting animation and the different animations throughout this. This is great example of explaining dimensional analysis. The printable for this section is the worksheet. So again, of all the different dimensional analysis conversions with the answers. So they can see if they get those right. Reading medication labels, this will take them to a website where they can further read the about everything on the medication label, but we'll be focusing on pretty much the dosage strength as said down here. Here's another interactive using ThingLink. So I liked how you can just hover over, see what all of the different things are on the label. And then just an example of dosage strength. Another activity where they can circle all of the different dosage strength and all of the different labels. So finding the dosage strengths. And then another ed puzzle with questions in it. So this one has...
Per capsule. The question is,
this
how
one
many
also has
capsules
questions
will the nurse
throughout.
administer?
4 questions throughout that one. To get them thinking about, does their answer make sense? If they got this answer, would that make sense? Those are the kind of questions on there. And then dosage calculations activity. This is the other Kahoot. This is the one I use to embed the video in the Kahoot. So this one goes through, first it goes through a video. And once it goes through the video, go back. So if you go through this, you can see it'll start out with this video and then it'll pause in the video and they have to answer the questions as they go through the video. And then the last one, they will have to just answer the question without the help of the video. So just picking random ones here, just so you can see that they'll be all based on the video, and number 5 will be based on their own. So that's that.
The leaders. The order.
And then at the end, the summative quiz that goes over all the objectives here with their calculating doses using dimensional analysis. Again, if you would go through that, you get the feedback of all the answers. And then we have some videos, Khan Academies, again for these. So video for this one.
Hey everyone, it's Sarah Threads.
For reading the labels, Khan Academy Dimensional Analysis Unit, and then going into the Spark page. So this is the Spark page I created for dosage calculations. Has the picture up at top with the heading. And then our slide of when you would use liquid medications, when we use our solid medications, how to read different medication labels with a video, and then the rounding rules with the side-by-side and a link to another dosing quiz for that. So then the last section is the conversions. Again, introduction, making sure we can calculate accurate doses to keep the patient safe. Objectives, these are all the conversions they'll need to memorize with the examples. Another mnemonic device to help them memorize the metric system. A visualization of how to use the table method to convert between the household and metric system, and then a video using that same method. Metric conversions game where they can just practice putting in these answers here quickly to get those. Metric conversions worksheet, again another practice printable for them to do with the answers. And then converting between systems, a video on that. This one's a helpful conversions to practice all the ones they have to memorize. 1 ounce is how many milliliters, 1 ounce is how many tablespoons, etc. Then we have a conversions quiz just to practice the different simple unit conversions. Dosage calc conversions video. And then this is the Verso activity that I used. So if we go into the activity, this just gives them a video to watch, some questions asking about the label, and then they need to submit how they worked through the problem, so a picture of writing down their work, and then it gives them the definition of dosage strength. And then another application of the conversions would be intake and output, which they'll learn in the nursing class. So it's a good application for this section. And then another summative quiz at the end of this. And finally, all of the different resources for this section. Just to look at a couple of these. This is the blend space lesson, or the test teach one. This one had a bunch of presentations, different practices, for them to do, and some videos, so this was really helpful for the conversions. And then the Khan Academies again, and a couple videos to give them more practice for these.
In this video.
So that is pretty much everything, and I think it should be a great resource for the nursing students.